So we're going to spoil this episode 3 of Mandalorian. If you've not seen it yet,
Chapter 19.
Yeah. Turn around, go watch it, come back.
You'll be glad you did, because it was good.
It is probably I think the best one so far. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So there, you've been warned. There's our spoiler warning. Okay. Take it away.
So previously on The Mandalorian, Mando and Bo-Katan like fucking went down into the living waters, metaphorically fucked, and then flew back up. Not
even metaphorically. They were in the same room together.
Is that how fucking works nowadays?
I've never done it. I don't know. I'm kidding. That's a joke. Question.
Yes.
I was under the impression that at the end of episode 2, that Mando was pulled under by the mythosaur.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw a bunch of people today talk about how he just fell in.
My first thought when I was watching episode 2 was that like he was expecting the stairs to keep going down, and so he took a step, but there wasn't a step there. Right. He just kind of plummeted.
Yeah, because the opening of this episode,
the previously on like shows him yelling as he falls into the water. I think he got pulled in. I think that's what we're supposed to take away.
That's so embarrassing. He just trips into water and can't help himself.
I mean, have you ever been walking down the stairs and just be paying attention to something else and like miss a step and just...
Well, no, but I also don't have a jetpack and Beskar armor, so like... Anyway, I thought it was also thought it was pretty interesting.
I think he took off the jetpack.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still, I mean, come on. So I thought it was also interesting. I'm going to stop watching the previously on part, I think.
Okay.
Because they
kind of tell you what's going to happen. Right?
They at least tell you who you're going to be with.
Mm-hmm.
And so like they show you a couple of characters that have nothing to do with the story so far, and you're like, oh, okay, so we're gonna see them in this episode. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, I might stop watching those.
Anyway,
Juan says yes, good episode. I agree.
So now in the new episode, we come to Mando and Bo-Katan immediately after Bo-Katan flies them out, mm-hmm. and they're just kind of catching their breath next to the living waters, and Grogu is like standing right next to Mando's head and looking all adorable.
Mm-hmm. R5. Don't forget.
No, R5's still on the ship.
What ship?
Bo-Katan's ship.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's there with them, right?
No, because they're still at the living waters.
Oh, they haven't gotten their ship yet. Sorry.
Yeah. So Mando fucking comes to and fucking breathes and says, "Hey, I'm redeemed." And Bo-Katan is like, "Yes, you are. Good job. Yeah. I'll fucking vouch for you." Yeah. Can we?
I got that on my GoPro. So.
But can we like get the fuck out of here? I got a lot to do at my fucking castle where I need to, like, I have several hours of lounging on my throne penciled in.
A building that I love very, very much, and if anything ever happened to it, I'd be very upset.
Mm-hmm. So they get up to go, and Bo-Katan is like, "Hey, by the way, while you were down there, did you see anything? Like, did you maybe see any gigantic mythical creatures?" Mando's like, "No, not really. No, like it was a big crevice, like the bombing fucked it up, but I didn't see anything." Bo-Katan's like, interesting.
Right. And in my, like, why would she lie about this? Cause
I think she doesn't fully believe all the legends of Mandalore yet, even though she's been presented with some evidence of them. And she doesn't want to, like, she's also built up this image and self-image of being like this really rational person who's focused around what is provable.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to like break that by starting to question it. That maybe some of these weird old beliefs are real.
Yeah, or maybe she just doesn't have enough information, so she's like, I'll reserve judgment.
Like as they're walking out, Bo-Katan like kind of stops.
Which is a very rational thing to do, by the way.
Like Bo-Katan kind of stops and looks back at the waters for a second, then turns around and follows him.
Yeah.
So on the way back, like they get to on the ship, and on the way back, Mando's like, "Hey, thanks for fucking doing this and saving me and shit." And Bo-Katan's like, "Yeah, you know, I'd invite you to a feast at my empty castle, but there's no way you're taking that helmet off, so it wouldn't really work.
Also, we don't have any food there.
Yeah,
like I have to order out."
Mando's like, "Yes, I will not take off my helmet because this is the way." And Bo-Katan's like, "This is the fucking way, I guess."
Fine. God, you're doing this again.
And then Grogu babbles something and they both kind of look at him and like, did that motherfucker just say this is the way?
Yeah, or like, did he just talk?
Yeah. So as they're having this nice little moment, some fucking TIE interceptors are shooting at them.
Which I read as that's what Grogu was making noise about.
Oh, maybe.
Because I think that's what everyone's kind of agreeing on, is that he sensed a disturbance in the Force, and in his little baby language was like, guys.
Could be.
There's trouble. There's TIE interceptors. Which, by the way, we've not really seen.
Yeah, we haven't really seen those since Return of the Jedi.
I don't Yeah, I'm trying to...
Which is a shame, because like I personally love TIE interceptors. I think they're really cool looking.
Yeah, they're pretty neat. Like in the earlier seasons, we see TIE fighters. Like Moff Gideon's got a TIE fighter that
fucking
his wings fold.
Wings and yeah.
And maybe we've seen them in I'm
sure they've shown up somewhere.
Yeah.
Just not super recently.
Yeah. It's cool to see him in live action.
Comment the last time you saw TIE interceptors.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Mando jumps out and starts working the guns, and Bo-Katan is like, yeah, these guys are probably really upset because I've been, stealing from the local Imperial warlords. And Mando's like, well, no shit. Maybe that's why they're shooting at you.
I like how her response was like, yeah, maybe.
Maybe. So they go down to the planet. And Bo-Katan's like, all right, look, you gotta get to your ship and fucking take these fighters out. I don't have any time to stop, so you're just gonna have to fucking jump out and
jump out and hope for the best, bitch.
Mando's like, don't worry, I got you. And like Grogu's pod like closes up the door.
He's like, just in case this ship gets blown up.
It's real cute. So Mando like jumps out as Bo-Katan flies by and jetpacks down and then hops into his hot rod. He gets into his fighter just as the TIE interceptor behind him is like shooting at the pad.
I saw someone mention that it looked like he was trying to do a superhero landing.
Maybe.
But he just fell over. Realistically, that's probably what would happen.
So Mando like gets in his fighter, flies straight up, does this really cool stall turn.
It's literally the scene from Batman 89.
Huh, yeah.
When he flies the Batwing up in front of the moon and just,
That's also a real world fighter technique.
Yeah, I guess they did that in...
I'm sure it's in Top Gun.
There's a bunch of shit. Yeah. Actually, Bo-Katan does a move later on. I think that's in one of those movies.
So he takes out one of the interceptors and goes after Bo-Katan. She's like flying through some like seaside canyons and shit, doing some really pretty smooth flying. R5's like, are you sure you're good to do this in this big ass ship? And she's like, don't worry about it. I've been doing this all the time. And then like one of the TIE fighters crashes and she's like, well, that fucking guy didn't know what we were doing.
I like how she brushes the canyon, like she like clips a wing. She's like, okay, it's been a long time, you fucking droid.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, so don't fucking judge me.
Yeah.
Let's see you do it, R5.
So the two of them like do some cool flying around and shoot up all the TIE interceptors. And then they're like, all right, let's go back to the castle.
Yay, the fight's over. All the fighting's over.
Hey, what's that cloud of smoke over that cliff?
Yeah.
Bo-Katan's like, those motherfuckers are bombing my castle.
Yeah, and then we get to see TIE bombers.
Yeah.
Which, they showed when they do the whole Night of 1,000 Tears thing or whatever.
Purge.
Yeah. But it's always kind of cool. They're cool. Like they came up with some pretty cool variations of the TIE fighters for the movies. And I remember like, it's like in Return of the Jedi, all of a sudden you see the TIE bomber is in Empire Strikes Back because they bomb the asteroids for whatever reason. And then you see the TIE interceptors in Return of the Jedi. And it's just kind of cool. It's like every movie has a new thing. And they always kind of make sense. Like the TIE bomber has the one compartment that's for ordnance and shit. And
and then, the EU gave us the fucking TIE defenders. You remember those things?
Yes. Well, there are a bunch actually.
There's a ton of TIE variations.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. In Rogue Squadron, the game on N64, they did an automated piloted TIE that had like wings like this. Yeah. They're like bent and like that. And they were, Samantha says, hello, my fellow Sith Lords. Hello there.
Ain't no Sith Lords here. Anyway, so there's like 3 TIE bombers bombing the castle, and Bo-Katan, goes in and blows them up. And then Mando's like, shit, there's like 1 billion TIE interceptors behind them. Like, Bo-Katan, I know you're pissed, but we really got to go.
She's like going straight towards, she's like, I don't give a fuck.
Like, Bo-Katan, we really got to get the fuck out of here.
There was, before this, by the way, when they were still engaging with the TIE interceptors, she does this really neat move where she like cuts power to her thrusters and then puts one of her wings up.
Oh yeah.
And it catches and it turns around. And it's because that's almost certainly a Top Gun thing. But also, if any of you out there have watched Katie Sackhoff in Battlestar Galactica, like the reboot has for its time some really great CG space battles that they do a really good job of showing the absence of air resistance and gravity in space. So like Katie Sackhoff plays a character who is like the best pilot ever.
She's a really good pilot.
She's like the best, right? And she does this move where she'll be flying along and just flips over and will be facing the opposite direction, but still going like in the same direction and shit. It kind of reminded me of that. I thought it was really neat.
Anyway, so they fucking hyperspace out of there because, you know, there's too many interceptors. They'll fucking die. And then we go to Coruscant.
Oh, also, I thought it was really neat too. So I was really into this action set piece at the beginning. I thought it was really cool that Din Djarin got to do the turret in her ship.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, you can go press the button. She's like, yes, I love this. I thought it was pretty great.
There's also a moment where he calls her Bo, which is kind of cute.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. He's like, Bo, we gotta leave.
Man, all the but by the way, I posted
so they're gonna fuck, but the helmets stay on.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I posted something. I posted a meme the other day about there being people who ship the whole Bo-Katan Din Djarin thing, and I made up a ship name called Din Katan.
Okay.
And Rakesh, one of our guys, was like, well, wouldn't it be Bo Djarin?
That also works.
I was like, no. In this relationship, he's the one that's going to change his last name. Like you know that Bo-Katan's like either they're going to get married and they keep their names, or like
he's going to be Din Kreese.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So we're on Coruscant now. Surprise. And we run into Dr. Pershing.
Yeah.
Who last we saw was working for Moff Gideon, but
as a scientist. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dr. Pershing is now talking about the New Republic amnesty program that's working to rehabilitate former Imperials.
Did you notice what building they're in?
I believe it's the Opera House from episode 3, right?
It is absolutely the Opera House. And the reason I know this is because this last weekend, I had like a really hard time sleeping. I stay with me. I know this is
so you just fucking put on episode 3?
No. I had a really hard time sleeping, got like an hour or two of sleep, and then woke up again, like when John got up. And then I was laying on the couch and I just fell asleep. And so John's plan was like, maybe if I put on episode 3, kind of like low volume, it'll just like sedate him and he'll be at peace because there's Star Wars on. And it worked. I got like a solid, but I happened to wake up for a little bit right in that scene where he's
the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
They do almost the same establishing shot of the building because it's like a sphere on top of a thing, or whatever. So anyway,
so Dr. Pershing is talking about how, he was doing research in cloning organs and things, and he thought it was an objective good because like his mom died when he was really young. She died of a heart failure, and if they could have just cloned a heart for her, she would have been fine. But then Moff Gideon came along and started messing around with it and trying to make it do evil shit.
It's they're setting up throughout the whole episode. They set up this like Warner von Braun thing with him and the whole Project Paperclip.
A little bit, yeah.
Like when we bombed Japan to shit and then we won the war, we took in German scientists who were kind of more or less being forced to make terrible things and having them work for us. He ended up being a director at NASA, I think.
Seems probable.
Warner von Braun's the reason we went to the moon. I mean, it's literally like he's the reason why.
The work on the German V1 and V2 rockets formed the basis for the Apollo program. Anyway. So outside the hall, I guess, Dr. Pershing is talking about his work with another scientist guy, and like he's getting really into it. And then these fucking rich people and politicians come like, "Oh, Dr. Pershing, come talk to us about shit you don't care about."
Which, by the way, during his talk,
his TED talk,
a couple things that I think you forgot to mention. One of which is in the crowd. Watching the talk, is Moff Gideon's communications officer, who also was the spy keeper, right? So she talked to the spies, to figure out where everyone was and shit. And so she's watching it, and it's very hard to tell with that actor what her intentions are, because she looks dangerous, but she also looks like she could be kind of nice.
So I looked her up on IMDb. She's actually a martial artist.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah.
She moves well. The other thing too, I noticed, and this isn't consequential, it's just kind of a neat little Easter egg. Did you notice he right before he tells the story about his mom,
he kind of so he like swallows and has to compose himself and like reaches for his ear.
Yeah, the reason is because that's the ear that fucking Cara Dune shoots through. Because you might remember in the second season, the pilot was holding that guy hostage and he's like, fuck Alderaan. She's like, fuck you, and shoots him in the face and like shoots through his ear.
Yeah.
And once I noticed it, every shot I looked at, that ear is all mangled up and shit. It's like, I remember that.
Continuity.
I saw that episode.
So Like one of these rich people is so out of touch. Like that they mentioned, that, that was back in the Empire. He's like, oh, the Empire, the Rebellion, the New Republic. I can't tell the difference anymore because I'm rich.
It's literally the lesson that the Last Jedi was trying to address during that whole Canto Bight thing. Yeah. I thought it was interesting that he was like, I got conscripted once, and they're like, by who? And he's like, I can't remember. Was it the Empire or the Rebellion? it didn't matter. I fucking got out of it because I'm fucking rich.
Yeah.
Those fucking guys, I swear to God.
So Pershing is like taking this fucking droid cab home, and like he's just sitting in the back, minding his own business. And the droid fucking turns his head around and says, hey, have you ever been to like this place on Coruscant?
Did you see this building? Did you see this building?
And Pershing's like he's trying to be polite about it. He's like, no, I haven't. But can you fucking focus on the road? I thought it was really funny where the droid's like, oh, yes, right.
You would think that the droid would be able to either have a program in place where they didn't endanger the life of their passengers by looking, or just having a way of seeing everything.
You would think. Yeah. But also, this entire sequence is just Dr. Pershing being trapped in introvert hell, where everybody's trying to talk to him about shit he doesn't care about.
That's one thing I kind of enjoyed about this episode was that, we get a little bit of Dr. Pershing and in the previous episodes and everything in season 2, and you can tell that he is a sympathetic character a little bit. Yeah. Like in the very beginning, when they're doing the negotiations with Werner Herzog or Werner Herzog's character, he seems like he really cares about Grogu. And when the Mandalorian rescues him, he's like, dude, I'm just trying to do science. He's a cool kid. I'm not trying to do anything bad to him. So they kind of set him up as a sympathetic character. But this episode in particular, I mean, the whole fucking episode is a character development for him. And I think he's a 100% more an interesting character now that he's ever been in the show, which I really appreciate. This is what happens when you have 50-minute episodes. You can address shit like this.
So they get back to the amnesty housing where they're hosting the former Imperials in the amnesty program. Yeah. And Pershing is walking back to his place, and he goes to this little plaza where there's some amnesty people, sitting there drinking.
Remember the war crimes we...
Hey, come on, guy. Let's fucking drink to the war
crimes.
So apparently the New Republic has given all these amnesty people numbers so that they don't use their names.
Yes. The best I could reason that is I don't think they want each other to know who they are.
I think it's witness protection.
Yeah.
So that if you were in this faction, the Empire, and I was in that faction, our factions didn't like each other. Yeah. We wouldn't start, shooting each other.
Which and he immediately violates, by the way.
Yes. And it also protects them from reprisals by angry Republic citizens.
Right. Samantha says, do you guys know when the new Jedi Order game is coming? It's on April 28th.
Yeah. That sounds all right. So he sits down, and one of the people drinking is fucking Moff Gideon's old comm officer.
Yeah.
They recognize each other because they worked in the same building. Apparently there are rumors flying around about Moff Gideon, he had escaped on his way to the War Tribunal, and something else was happening with him.
I think he did.
He most likely did. Yes.
So what he said was he escaped, and they said no, that's the cover up because they mind flayed him or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, which I now that they've said it, it's of course. Because
he escaped.
Luke left, right? And as soon as Luke and all the other dangerous people left, that the first New Republic fucking cop to come in there, he was like, "Oh, I have another gun. You're dead," and he's gone. You know?
So everyone here is committed to trying to build the Republic because they want to get away from the war crimes of the Empire and start doing something good with their lives.
They do seem very. So I'm going to say this as I viewed it in that point in the episode, so I don't give anything else away later on. But at that point in the episode, it to me seemed like everyone but the comms officer earnestly seemed like they were trying to do the right thing.
Yeah,
which I was like, all right,
good for them.
Yeah.
So the comms officer is talking to Pershing hey, do you want to fucking go sightseeing to all these places that the droid was telling you about? And Pershing's like, yeah, maybe.
You want to fuck?
Yeah, they're definitely flirting.
We're not allowed to not fuck.
Yeah.
I just can't tell you my name. We have to refer to each other as our numbers.
So like the people here start talking about the things they missed in the Empire, like not the war crimes.
Yeah.
Not the war crimes.
Not the war crimes,
but like
yeah.
the food or the places they got to see. And Dr. Pershing is talking about the yellow travel biscuits that he missed for some fucking reason.
Of course he did.
Yeah. So Pershing goes back to his room and he's watching like a Coruscant travel guide on space YouTube or something. Someone rings his doorbell and he like fucking goes out to answer and there's nobody there. He looks both ways and looks down. And there's a fucking crate of the travel biscuits.
Yeah. Now, look, at this point in the episode, ever since they introduced Elia Kane.
Commissar. We don't know her name yet.
Yeah, we do.
No, you don't.
At this point. Yeah, you do.
No, not at this point.
Yeah, but
she doesn't give her name until way later.
Yeah, but she's credited in the previous season.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Her last name's Kane.
Okay, then yeah.
Like the second she shows up at his TED Talk, I was like, oh God, like this isn't good. And she does the whole ominous thing really well, but it's really hard to tell what she's up to. And I really thought that she was just going to kill him.
I didn't read her as ominous for most of this episode.
Really? I don't know. I just had like
maybe you're just more suspicious than me.
Oh, I probably am.
So
I've seen shit, Chris.
Yeah.
I was born on the West Side.
So Dr. Pershing's day job is that like he is at a lab where he like uses this microscope to look at these technology things or whatever.
Is it like
he is way overqualified for this, but like he's like
looking at microfilm.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what he's doing.
He has like multiple doctorates, and this is like an entry-level high school education job.
There's this scene. God, the parallels between this and Andor.
Yes,
I thought
that was
really
another thing I was thinking.
Yeah.
Especially the later scene in this location.
Yeah.
So hold on that thought. We'll come back to it. So his boss comes by and he's like, "Hey, I saw your TED Talk last night. I didn't know you were that fucking smart."
Yeah.
Like,
why the fuck are you here?
Yeah. What are you doing here? Pershing is like, I just want to help build the Republic.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever they ask me.
Yeah. I'll do whatever boring ass job you want, I guess.
So that night, Pershing and Com Officer Kane they go on a date because it's totally a date.
Yeah.
To this like plaza park circus thing in Coruscant that has glowing popsicles for some reason.
And I can't watch. Maybe it's because I'm still a 14-year-old boy, like at heart. Every time they go to like suck on one of those things, it's like, oh no, you're putting that in your. That looks like a blowjob. So anyway, that's what I think about when I watch it like that.
So Kane is like, yeah, I haven't been to Coruscant, since I trained at the academy, and they talk about how there's like 1 trillion people living on Coruscant, which doesn't seem right. But
it seems like there would be more.
1 trillion is an awful lot.
Yeah, but well,
so okay, yes, because we have to talk about the scale of the planet, right?
Yeah.
So in the middle of this plaza, there's this rock that is the peak of the tallest mountain on Coruscant.
I was like, what a fucking cool idea.
Yeah,
because the surface of Coruscant has been explored, like the actual surface has been explored quite a bit in Star Wars. There's a really great book that I loved so much in junior high called Darth Maul's Shadow Hunter. We'll talk about it during the Battlefront stream. Remind me, it's really neat. But they find themselves like on the surface of Coruscant, and it's terrifying because like there's this scene from episode 2.
Yep.
Where they chase the changeling into a bar.
And fucking Anakin jumps out of the speeder and falls for like a mile before he...
That is not the surface of Coruscant. No. It's miles beneath that. Yeah. And it's like there are fucking mutant things down there. It's terrifying.
It's real fucked up.
And I thought it was so cool. Like imagine on Earth if we had built things on top of things so much and had this little spot of Everest.
Yeah, like number 1, the entire surface of the planet is just city.
Yeah.
And then number 2, you can see a bit of Everest.
Yeah, and you can just go up and give it a tap.
Touch it. While they're walking around, Pershing is talking about, how his science team was really close to these big breakthroughs that could have really helped some people. Yeah. But the New Republic is really leery about cloning. And Kane is like, well, why not just fucking do it first? Produce this stuff that helps people and then ask for forgiveness.
This is where I just started to get way, way more suspicious of her too.
Yeah. So while they're walking around and talking, there's this music cue in the background. It's like this carnival theme of March to the Resistance. Yes. And I was like, wait a minute.
I shat my pants, first of all. Second of all, it's a little universe breaking because the Resistance doesn't exist yet.
Okay. Yeah.
And did they mention already at this point that they were dismantling the rebellion fleet?
Yes.
Yeah.
They do in the the next scene in the office.
Right. And I think so. One of the things that people got really confused about in The Force Awakens is why is there a difference between the New Republic and the Resistance?
Because they didn't read the books where you learn that Mon Mothma decommissioned all the militaries. So
it was a little universe breaking that there's this theme for a group that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's still fun.
I thought it was great. It was like like when you go on the spinny things with the horses.
Yeah, the carousels.
Yeah.
So fucking Pershing's like, what's that fucking rock? And Kane's like, yeah, that's
it's Everest.
You want to go fucking touch Mount Everest? And he's like, are we allowed to? And he's like, fine, just go do it. It'd be great.
Such a Pershing thing. Yeah. By the way. Is that allowed? Do I have permission to do that?
So Pershing like gets up on the ledge and reaching out. He's almost about to touch it when Droid's like, hey, don't fucking do that.
Yeah, the mountain keeper droid.
Like, Pershing's like, sorry. And they'd leave, and Kane's fucking laughing at him for being such a doofus.
It also yells at him for littering because he drops his blowjob sickle. Yeah.
Sometimes, Daniel, a popsicle is just a popsicle.
Sometimes it's a blowjob sickle.
So Pershing has a meeting with his parole officer, who's a droid, because it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
The droid is like, are you having any troubles with your housing? Pershing's like, no. Are you angry at your coworkers? Pershing's like, no, they're cool. Are you angry at the Republic?
Are you mad at us?
Nah, it's cool. All right, cool. Get out of here. And Pershing's like,
very boilerplate list of questions.
Like, but before I go, like, if I wanted to, just do a little science recreationally, would that be okay? And the droid is like, well, see, your record says that you were involved in cloning and genetic engineering, and that's illegal on Coruscant. So no, absolutely not.
No, go do drugs instead.
Yes. So on his way back, Pershing, sees Kane sitting in the plaza at the apartment place, and he's like, I just know that my science could help people if they would just let me.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, well, what do you fucking need to do your science? And Pershing's like, I just need this, this basic science shit.
Fucking a couple test tubes.
Yeah.
Microscope.
And she's like, yeah, okay, we can get that. We just need to, leave the safe area and kind of, break our parole. But that's no big deal. Pershing's like, I don't know about that.
Because then they would have to go back to the, what was that thing that they said it was? Because he was somewhere before going to the...
Yeah, before they got to the amnesty thing.
It was like a halfway house thing.
Sort of. So Kane is like, look, I did a lot of shitty things in the Empire, and like if I can help you do some good things, like that's a big personal redemption for me. Yeah. So like just fucking think about it. And maybe we can go do this if you fucking grow some balls.
Can we take a minute since I thought it was really interesting. So in Andor, the general look of Coruscant is way different than what we remember.
It's more gritty and concrete.
Yeah, it's very authoritarian and I thought it was really interesting that Coruscant now looks way different.
It's more neon.
Yeah. However, their housing section still looks drab.
Yeah, definitely has that brutalist aesthetic.
Maybe they're just like, we're just going to inch them into New Republic life, so we're going to let them.
It could also be that like the different shows are showing different parts of Coruscant. Because remember, the whole city, the whole planet is a city, and within that size of canvas, you have a lot of room for lots of different architectural styles. So Pershing is back at his fucking cubicle. His supervisor comes by, and Pershing's like, hey, this fucking equipment I'm looking at, it's all marked to be destroyed. And like it's all perfectly good, and like we just plug it into things and use it today. And supervisor's like, yeah, but it's Imperial stuff, and no one really likes it.
It has the Imperial seal on it. Yeah, that doesn't look good anymore.
And I mean, like we're also way behind because we're trying to decommission the Imperial fleet and the Rebel fleet at the same time, and there's just a ton of shit we gotta do. So you really just got fucking nose to the grindstone, do your job. Even if we wanted to use this stuff, we'd have to do a whole bunch of bureaucratic paperwork, and like you'd have to fill out forms that I don't think amnesty people are even allowed to do. And it's just a big pain in the ass. Person is like, I'm sorry for asking. Supervisor's like, no, don't worry. Like everything we're doing here is helping the Republic. Yeah. And like you can see the wheels turning in Pershing's head. Like we're throwing away perfectly good stuff that we could be using
to help the Republic.
And this is helping the Republic. Yeah. So Pershing, like when the supervisor leaves, Pershing like just opens his desk drawer, pulls out one of those travel biscuits, and takes a nibble.
That's his stress ball.
Yeah. So he has another meeting with the parole droid. And the droid's like, "Is trouble your housing? No.
Are you mad at us?
No." He says, "Are you mad at your coworkers?" Pershing's like, "No." "Are you mad at the Republic?" And this time Pershing kind of hesitates and like rubs his ear, and he has to be asked again before he says, no, we're good. Pershing is like, okay.
Which, by the way, you would think that droid would pick up on some text like that and be like the droid like goes to his like droid supervisor and be like,
we need to talk about this guy.
I think that guy's mad at us.
So Pershing is like, okay, so hang on. The goal of this program is to help the Republic at any cost, right? And the droid is like, yes, absolutely. Pershing's like, okay, cool, thanks, bye.
Even cloning? No. No cloning. Go home.
What about just a little bit of cloning? Yeah. So Pershing like goes to Kane's apartment and rings the bell and says, all right, we're going to fucking break parole and get the science
Let's
done.
Commit some crimes.
Kane's like, all right, cool. Let's do that tomorrow night.
I thought you'd never
I got to wash my hair tonight, So Pershing like is putting on his civilian clothes disguise, and like he has to look in the mirror. He's like, you're helping the Republic. You're helping the Republic. You're helping the Republic. You're helping the Republic. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And he goes out the door.
Finally gets the nerve. Yeah.
So let's show them sneak out. Pershing is super fucking nervous as he's just, walking down the street. And Kane is fine. She's just smiling and acting real natural. Pershing is like fucking looking at everybody like these could all be cops. Like I could be arrested at any second. This is such a bad idea. I stole something once when I was a kid from Walmart. Yeah. And I felt so guilty about it, which I would never now feel guilty about it. But I remember that feeling like everyone knew what I did on the way out and how it felt like everyone was staring at me. Yep. So I was like, I get it. To a certain personality, like when you feel guilt, it feels like everybody's looking at you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Also, he also kind of seems like he's another character in the Star Wars universe who might be on the spectrum a little bit.
Maybe.
So I see a lot of similarities between him, not a lot of similarities, but maybe a couple of similarities between like him and Tech.
A little bit, yeah.
Like he has a really hard time dealing with other people, like communicating with other people.
I think those are slightly different things. I think Pershing is just a very strongly expressed introvert.
Yeah.
He might be shy, but like that, I think Tech...
Or maybe he's got like an anxiety thing.
Yeah. Like I think Pershing has a better understanding of people than like most people meeting him would realize.
Well, you clone a person, you understand a person.
I guess, yeah.
As a joke, by the way.
Anyway.
Also, I don't know if we'll get into this ever again. Probably not. But I think it's interesting that the New Republic has a thing against cloning as an ethical thing.
Okay.
It feels a little bit like how people in real life are real upset over stem cell research when they shouldn't be, because there's nothing there to be upset about, and it could like literally cure people having a stroke,
sure,
or whatever. I just thought it was really interesting that maybe it's because they had just like not too long before that there was a whole war.
Yeah, you gotta remember this is 5 years after Return of the Jedi, which is roughly 5 years.
It's 30 something years.
Yeah, it's like 30 something years after the Clone Wars. That is within living memory.
Yeah.
So I could absolutely believe that there are some older folks in the Republic who are like, you know what? We fought an entire war with clones and it was kind of fucked up, and the clones didn't, have such a great time.
We famously treated them very badly.
Yeah. So maybe let's just relax on the cloning a little bit.
And it's just too bad that they wouldn't have been like, let's actually have an ethical look at this instead of just banning it all together.
Yeah. So Pershing and Kane like are going down the train station, and like this guy in front of them like swipes his ticket and goes through the turnstile, and Kane just kind of sticks her foot in there before it closes and is like, come on, let's fucking
your first little hint that this is maybe the first time this
happened. So they get on the train, and Pershing is like still really fucking nervous, and there's this big alien looking at the Kane. Is like, Thorg's days, am I right?
Yeah, I've never heard of this before, but I guess there are Bentu days as well.
I guess they just have like, it's absolutely just like that they invented new names for the days.
It's like Dank Ferric.
Yeah,
it's a good goofy fucking thing.
Or like Orabesh, which is literally just the alphabet
with different symbols. Yeah.
So they get on, and Pershing is just fucking captivated looking out the window because Coruscant's a really pretty place.
Yeah,
makes sense that he like the view. So they're going into the disposal yards where they're getting rid of old Imperial ships that the Pershing is cataloging, and he's like, "Have you done this before?" And she's like, "Where the fuck do you think I get the travel biscuits, you idiot?"
Yeah, I didn't make that shit at home.
Yeah. So they're just, chilling on the train, and all of a sudden this door opens. These two droids come in, start checking tickets, And Pershing's like, oh, fuck, I think they're going to catch us. And Kane's like, don't worry about it. Just fucking get up and walk with me. We're going to be real natural.
Hey, man, be cool.
Yeah, just fucking chill. And like they go out the opposite door and they have to like fucking hop across this gap to get to the other car. And like as they're doing this, one of the droids looks up and is like, hey, you're probably not supposed to do that, are you? That's kind of suspicious. I'm going to follow you.
Yeah.
So they go through the next car and they're like kind of brushing through this crowd of people, and they get to the next door and she's like, fucking jump across again. Let's keep going. And like this droid is still following them. They go through another car, same thing, except this time they're at the end of the train. And Pershing's like, well, shit, we can't go any farther. And Kane's like, don't worry, I got this. We're just gonna have to jump off this moving train.
Yeah. And he's like, excuse me?
What? She's like, don't worry about it. Just fucking hold my hand.
See, what I thought you said was we were going to jump off the train.
She's like, no, seriously, just hold my hand. We're on a date now. We're just going to fucking jump off this thing. And they do. They land on something soft and it's fine.
Yeah. In real life, they would have died.
They would have splattered.
They're only going 9,000 miles an hour.
So they get off the landing pad, and Pershing looks up, and there's an entire fucking Star Destroyer just sitting, in this bay. It's like, wow, it's pretty big. So they get down there, and Kane fucking hotwires the door open. She's like, hey, these fucking Star Destroyers, there's no security. Like, you can't go anywhere. Who the fuck cares?
Let's go straight to the microscope room.
Yeah. So it's dark and creepy in there. There's like bugs and things. And as they're walking, she starts saying that, like we fucking passed each other 100 times on Gideon's ship, and I never fucking introduced myself. And he's like, it's fine. We didn't do that back then. She's like, well, we're doing it now. My name is Elia Kane. And he's like, my name is Penn Pershing. So like, all right, fucking shake hands.
Nice to meet you, Penn.
Yeah, great.
Penn with 2 N's.
So they keep walking down, and they reach the microscope room, and Pershing is like, yes, this is so great. There's everything I need here. You fucking
look at all these microscopes.
Grabs the travel case and starts fucking loading it up with science shit.
Ooh, test tubes.
He's like, this is so fucking cool. Like, I wanted to be a scientist from the time I could walk. I wanted to be a scientist and do science shit. And the first time I was in a lab was like the best day of my life, and blah, 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 blah. He's like, what did you want to be when you were a kid? And Eli's like, I didn't really have a chance to think about it.
Yeah.
Which is another, like, so like the lighting in this is really cool. It's one of those subtle as a brick tricks where like she's leaning over on the table and there's light on her face. Mm-hmm. And then when he asks her the question, she kind of leans back, and all of a sudden her face is in darkness. A bit, yeah.
Which I think the presumption there is that she was conscripted.
Yeah.
Like young into the Empire, right?
Sounds about right to me. So there's a big noise in the ship, and Eli's like, that was probably just the ship settling, but I'm just gonna, keep watch out in the hallway while you gather your science shit. So they get the shit and they leave.
Hold on just a second. Raisin Kane says, I just watched it. Why do you think they introduced them as a side story? 100% to set up Snoke. I think it's the only reason Dr. Pershing would be around.
Okay. Anyway, so they're leaving, and there's more loud noises, and there's footsteps, and Kane is like, all right, we gotta fucking hurry now. Let's fucking go. So they get out of the ship and they start running. They get back to the main bay, I guess, but all of a sudden there's a big spotlight on them. They're like, hey, fucking scientist L62, fucking put your hands up. You're under arrest. And like, so Pershing puts his hands up, and then Kane just kind of grabs the case from him and walks out to the cops, and they make no move to stop her. And he's like, what the fuck is going on?
I thought we were gonna fuck after this.
Yeah. Also, this whole situation seems like entrapment, which ought to be illegal.
Yeah, because it was her idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she was the one who said, let's fucking break parole and go get this.
There's something real weird about her.
Yeah.
Especially as we get to the next part. But you know what I really expected to have happen? Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but it's like they're going to get on that fucking Star Destroyer. Moff Gideon's going to come out of the shadows, and they're going to be like, oh, we fixed the Star Destroyer. Let's go. And just fucking take off.
I mean, who's going to stop him? It's a fucking Star Destroyer. Yeah. So Pershing, fucking comes to strapped to a lab table, which is never where you want to be.
Yeah.
He's like, wait a minute, just chill. I just want to talk. And the technician's like,
nothing in my butt. Nothing. Don't put anything in my butt.
And this Moncal technician's like, no, don't worry about it. It's totally fine. We got your buddy's report. We understand everything that's going on. It's not your fault. Imperial indoctrination can be really hard to work against. And Pershing's like, no, you don't understand. I was trying to help people. He's like, shh. shh, just calm down. We're just going to strap you into this device. And Pershing's like, wait a minute. This is a mind flare. And the technician's like, no, it's actually a 602 mitigator.
It's not technically a mind flare.
Because we changed the name, right?
Yeah.
It's not a mind flare.
Yeah.
It's a legally distinct piece of technology that uses low voltages to soothe select traumatic memories.
And the voltage can be turned up all the way, and it can be turned into a mind flare.
But we don't do that. We're the Republic, not the Empire. Yeah. Pershing is like freaking the fuck. He's like, no, you don't understand. I was set up like the fucking chick in the other room. She fucking set me up.
I thought it was really interesting that he said that, and the Mon Calamarian like looked over like, shit, did she?
Did she?
And he's like, I just want to press buttons.
So in the control room, there's this Twi'lek, like a commandant or whatever. He's telling a lie. You know, I thought he was doing so well. Like he's going to be one of our success stories. But apparently, you never know what's going on in someone's head, and you did the right thing by reporting him. This is going to help him, and you're a credit to the program. You're one of our success stories. So the mind flayer boots up, and Twi'lek is like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here. And Eli's like, can I stay? Like, he was my friend, and I really feel a personal connection to this.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit here and watch him drool in orgasmic bliss. Is that okay with you?
Twi'lek is like, yeah, of course you can stay.
I would have been like, no, motherfucker. No. Why would you want to?
You can stay. Just really don't touch this control knob.
Yes.
This control knob that controls the voltage.
Yeah.
Do not touch this
one
control
right
knob.
Here that I'm pointing at. Don't touch that. Certainly do not twist it.
So Twi'lek leaves, and then she immediately cranks the knob up to full voltage.
Yeah, she's like, don't fucking tell me what to do.
And she reaches into her pocket and pulls out one of those travel biscuits. Just kind of nibbles as she's watching, his brain evaporate.
Yeah, which I think he mentioned something about getting his memories erased.
Yeah.
I'm real confused about her whole thing.
What I think was going on here, I think she's still loyal to Gideon.
I think she is too.
And that she's effectively killing Pershing just so that he can't testify against him or can't bear witness or anything like that.
Or can't share the
can't share what they were doing or something like that.
That makes sense to me. Because she kind of like lets on like she's like a New Republic zealot now, but I don't buy that at all. Like,
no, so she doesn't strike me as the type of psychopath who would just murder someone just for kicks.
No, she was ordered to do that by somebody, and I think you're right about the whole Moff Gideon thing.
Anyway, so we jump back to Mando and Bo-Katan, who come out of hyperspace and are coming back to the Mandalorian covert. And Bo-Katan is like, Jesus Christ, these people have actually believed in the old ways this long, and like they're actually living in a fucking cave. This is kind of hardcore. Mando's like, all right, so here's the deal. You're my guest here, so you're going to be fine. But it's probably best if you keep your helmet on.
Yeah.
Because like you got Mandalorian gear, and my people are kind of weird about that.
Yeah. So
they land and they walk up to the cave, and there's this posse of Mandalorians led by our good friend Paz Vizsla. Mm-hmm. Paz Vizsla's like, fucking slow your roll, dude. You're an apostate.
Voiced by Jon Favreau, by the way.
Oh, yeah, didn't know that. So Mando's like, no, that's cool. I did the Jesus water thing. I'm redeemed. It's fine. Paz is like, that's bullshit. The caves collapsed. Mandalore is cursed. There's no fucking way you did that. Mando's like, those are just lies to keep us away from the planet, dude. Mandalore is fine. Bo-Katan is like, he's telling the fucking truth. I was there. And Paz is like, what the fuck are you, Night Owl?
Yeah.
She's like, I'm Bo-Katan of Clan Kryze, motherfucker. Who are you? Paz is like, your clan is apostate. Get the fuck out of here. You're not a real Mandalorian. Mando's like, well, actually, we were both in the living waters, so she's
technically,
redeemed. She's as Mandalorian as you are, buddy. Paz is like, that's fucking bullshit, but it's not my place to judge your proof and your story, so let's just fucking go to the boss. So they go down to the forge. Paz is like, hey, armorer, Mando's here. And Mando's like, hey, I got this water from the living waters. You want to fucking test it? And Bo-Katan's like, yeah, I was there. We both got dunked in the living waters. It was kind of extreme.
He fell in and I rescued him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Armor's like, all right, let's fucking test this. She flicks up the vial, pours the living water into her thing. It does some green glowy shit. And she's like, guess it's true.
I'll be damned.
This is living water. Yeah. Din Djarin, you're redeemed. Congratulations. And everyone's like, this is the way. Then Armor turns to Bo-Katan and says, hey, you're redeemed too. Bo-Katan's like, wait a minute. How can I be redeemed? I was never a part of your creepy cult. What the fuck?
I don't want to be in this.
Armor's like, wait a minute. So you're in the waters, right? And Bo-Katan's like, yeah. And she's like, you haven't taken your helmet off since then, right? Bo-Katan's like, yeah. I don't like where this is going. Armor's like, well, congratulations. You're a Mandalorian. You can stay here as long as you want, just as long as you don't take your helmet off. And the other Mandalorians are fucking like clapping him on the back, and they're super happy to have him. Pez Vizsla's kind of like not comfortable about it. And like
not comfortable about anything.
Like Bo-Katan is just kind of looking around, like she's like, "What the fuck did I get myself into?" And like, there's this
am I a Christian now? I don't understand.
There's this beautiful Beskar like mythosaur head on the wall. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We get a good shot of that. And yeah, that's the end with Bo-Katan. Like, did I just join a cult?
Yeah, I think for me, I have the sense that Bo-Katan is, after seeing the mythosaur,
she's having a crisis of faith.
Yeah,
like it's specifically, should she have faith?
Yeah, and the thing is, she's still the same person that she was. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if there's like a part of her that's like looking around, being like, these people could have a different leader. Like maybe I do the whole helmet thing for a bit, and
just see what's what.
Yeah. Because I think her previous ambition of becoming the ruler of Mandalore makes more sense than it did a day ago, now that she's seen the mythosaur. Mm-hmm. Because she's like, well, if the mythosaur exists, maybe the Darksaber thing isn't,
maybe it's
such bullshit.
Maybe it's, yeah.
So I think she's just trying to figure out how to get everyone back together, and then you go to Mandalorian.
There's also the fact that she doesn't have anywhere to go because her castle got blown up. Bombed, She has no other friends.
Yeah.
So it's the weird Mandalorian cult or nobody.
Yeah. I like how her two friends, fucking Sasha Banks and the other guy.
Yeah.
Like as soon as she lost the Darksaber, they're like, no.
Fuck you.
Yeah, we're not friends anymore. They just like they fuck off. Yeah. All right. We don't have time to talk about really anything else. Bad Batch. They go to a planet. They save people from a wave.
A planet that reminds me of Numenor from Rings of Power.
Oh yeah. Yeah, everyone's
the big island. Everything's built into the cliffs and everything.
Everyone's very happy there. Yeah, it gets destroyed by a giant wave. Yeah.
And then they're like, hey, maybe we hang out here because us and Sid aren't really talking anymore. And like these people, they could use some soldiers.
Sid really rubs me the wrong way because she like sends them a message where she's like, listen, I know shit about you, so get back here and go to work. And I'm wondering maybe if they're not going to dump Sid and join Wanda Sykes, who voices that character.
Also, Wanda Sykes and Tech have a thing going.
Oh, I know.
They're totally fucking.
And he doesn't know what to do about it.
So like they're not fucking currently. Yeah, but they're gonna. They're going to over.
Like at the very beginning of the episode, she basically turns to him and is like, "I want your dick, bitch," and he's just kind of like. Huh?
The weirdest thing, like there's a scene where like she sends him on the way, is like, I'll catch up. And like Tech kind of looks at her and he like gives this very tiny smile. Yeah. And Tech never fucking smiles at anybody.
Yeah. And he kind of lingers after everyone leaves. And I'm here for it, by the way. Like
absolutely.
And like, oh my God.
Like fucking Tech deserves to be happy.
Everyone is real into Tech. I don't know. Like people want Tech real bad. So Raisin Kane says, great point. It's definitely the way to unite them if she wants to be a leader. Yeah. Oh, before we leave, I want to make sure we read some fan
theories.
Fan comments that were left on a post we made earlier today on Facebook, by the way, which is a place we are that you should go join us. And we'll give a quick reaction to these. Joshua says, at first I wondered why the ex-imps were being treated with so much hostility. And I remember that this is post Operation Cinder. It was explained in the first book of Alphabet Squadron trilogy. Alphabet set up the reintegration thing.
I mean,
that's a long post. I'm not gonna read the whole thing.
I mean, they're essentially Nazis, like in the sense that
it's Project
immediately post World War II Nazis. So like you probably wouldn't trust them that much until they've given you, like, you give them a chance, you trust but verify. Basically.
Right. April says, I feel bad for the Doc getting his brain fried. Me too. It was obviously early on. He was being played. I don't know what her angle is just yet. We'll see how things work out with Bo still eyeing her cautiously. Me too. Even with the interlude on Coruscant, things are moving along quickly here, and I still have no idea what's next. I like it.
I think so. Two things there. Like we said, I think Kane is still working for Gideon and doing things on his behalf. I think Bo-Katan is kind of reevaluating her place in the universe right now. Yeah,
I think she's trying to figure out how to get back to her original goal.
Could very well be. Yeah.
I still think that there's going to be a problem with her and Din Djarin. I think they're going to.
I think there has to be because like he has the Darksaber and that she has to see that as the solution to her problems.
Lauren says, rather disappointing. It did what Book of Boba did, but those episodes were actually good. 58 minutes, big plus. Only like 15 minutes of actual Mandalorian. 6 out of 10. I disagree. I think it's like human minds are pretty impressive. We can hold on to 2 plot threads without getting confused. At least most of us can. Ben says that opening fight had some wonky editing, but the rest is good. Very predictable. It was nice seeing as much of Coruscant getting a peek into daily life a la Andor, although Andor did it a little bit better.
Well, Andor spent more time on Coruscant. Is the big thing.
There's a lot. Yeah. Crystal says, I honestly wonder if Bo-Katan will take her helmet off. I hope she does, but since she's now considered redeemed, I wonder if she will, as long as she's still in the rest of the season. That's all I want. To which I replied in all caps, don't drink the Kool-Aid, Bo-Katan.
Fair.
It's funny because she didn't drink the Kool-Aid. She had to jump into it to save the Mandalorian.
She didn't even fucking know that she was drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to reset here for our Battlefront stream in just a couple of minutes. Please join us in. We're going to talk about The Last of Us. The season finale, and probably more of this as well. So thanks for joining us. We appreciate your support. We love you guys. Thanks for the comments. See you here in a few minutes.
Bye-bye.